Hello, welcome to the stream. First time streaming in a little while, but I do think we should have a little bit of fun here with this one. I was trawling itch.io looking for visual novel type games. I know that visual novel games have this reputation of being a little bit horny as a genre. And I've got to admit, I haven't really played many visual novels, but I really enjoy playing games with strong stories. And I thought I would give the genre a try. And this one is really well reviewed and rated on itch.io. And so I thought I would have a look and play this game, Andromeda 6. It's by Wanderlust Games. And it looks kind of sci-fi, which is kind of my thing, you know, like a sci-fi kind of cyberpunk kind of deal. And yeah, I really hope that we're in for a pretty cool story, some branching narratives, that kind of thing, and we'll see. So I think what we'll do, now it is officially 8 o'clock in Australian daylight saving time. That's right. There are currently 7 different time zones, I believe, in Australia right now, and I am in one of them. I think we'll start and just see how the game plays. Let me know what the sound's like. I don't know if there's any voice acting in this game or not, so we're going to find out that as we go. Otherwise, we'll just, I guess, be reading out the prompts, which will be a lot of reading and maybe, possibly, some voice acting practice. So let's start the game. Said start the game. There we go. Okay, so this is a warning for photosensitivity or epilepsy seizures. So I guess if you are amongst those who suffer from that, it's good to know that straight away. Let's put in a gamer tag here. Shall we be they, them? I think we'll be a they, them. Oh, we have a range of races here. So we have the Tilari, a gentle and intelligent alien race dedicated to their medical studies and nurturing way of life. Well, that automatically appeals to me as a biology type person. We'll go human last because they're probably the most boring. And we have a Catalfan, which is a humanoid race gifted with the ability to live both on land or on water. This unique species easily adapts to their chosen habitat. Humans, the most populous of all species, of course, renowned for their scientific advances and engineering. Well, yeah, let's choose the Tilari. Could be interesting. Episode 1, Error 404. Missing. Okay. My eyes crack open slowly. One and then the other. There's a heaviness that's settled behind them, and I squint as they adjust to the fluorescent lights hanging overhead. With a low groan, I manage to push myself up on my elbows, surveying my surroundings clumsily. A small room, metal walls, a desk, 2 closed doors. A couple of empty crates sit stacked in one corner, and the room gives off the impression of being unused. Bit of a blank slate then, I guess. No personal belongings, no decoration. It's all quite bare. I panic for a moment, my mind racing through all the possible reasons there could be to explain my being here in this place I don't recognize, with no memory of how I got here. I am a huge sucker for amnesia stories. And I think the reason is it gives you license to be whatever kind of character you want, but at the same time allows there to be some interesting things that have happened in your past. And I think that really allows you to have some form of narrative surprise, which is cool. And I know I have it on quite low, but the soundtrack is really good. I'm just going to up the music just a little. You should find that when I talk, the music actually ducks down automatically. But so far, I'm really enjoying the soundtrack as well. Am I in a cell? I push myself into a sitting position, my body feeling like an entire building has fallen on it. That's very dramatic. The mattress beneath me, although soft enough to be comfortable, does nothing to soothe the ache that has settled in my muscles. Okay, so we're basically finding ourselves in this place here. My eyes flick over the small room once again, eyebrows dipping in confusion. There's something else a-whirring. I feel it almost as much as I can hear it. Is the room moving? We're in space. All right, we are in space. My breath sticks in my throat, panic and confusion rising in me like a wave. Where the hell am I? And why can't I remember anything? Love it. The door opposite me... Oh, did you hear that? That was a sound effect just there. Like of a door opening. The door opposite me hisses and shifts, sliding back into the wall as it opens, and something in me turns defensive, pulling my knees up to my chest. Oh, I didn't know you were awake. The man that enters the room is so tall, his head almost touches the top of the door frame. Thinking human for him maybe then. Apologies, I should have knocked. He offers me a tight smile, and the metal chair beneath the desk scrapes across the floor as he pulls it out, sitting and leaning forward with his arms rested on his knees. How are you feeling? Well, we don't have any memory, so I'm assuming we're not feeling great. He looks at me expectantly, although I refuse to let my guard down so easily. An answer escapes me anyway. Well, it would be a very boring game if we didn't speak. I mean, we don't know anything. I think we feel horrible, right? I look the man over, from his gentle half smile to his casual posture. My gaze falls nervously upon the pistols strapped to his body, but there's nothing in his demeanor that suggests he intends to use them. He certainly doesn't look like he's here to harm me. I don't know what happened to me, but whatever it was, I don't think it was much fun. I assume not. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. He chuckles softly, and I find myself thinking there's something I like about his voice. Why, thank you. Something warm, indeed. I was worried about you after... His eyes flicker a little, almost though he would take back those words if he could. Well, after what? The awkward silence that follows is noticeable, his hesitation hanging thick in the air. Something happened, something big, and somehow I can't remember what. Indeed. Though even in the face of such uncertainty, one thing is abundantly clear. Whether I can trust the man in front of me or not, I need answers. Yeah, let's say, who are you? I think where is less important. He hesitates only a moment before something unseen inside him shifts. I'm June. Wow, he's named after a month. And this ship we're on is, surprise, the Andromeda 6. The finest cruiser around. And my home. All right, at least for the time being. June pauses before saying any more, his brow furrowed in thought. What can I call you? I open my mouth to tell him, but stop short when no memory of my name surfaces. The mystery deepens. Who am I? I have a name. I feel it there on the tip of my tongue, but every time I reach out, it escapes me. Not sure. June frowns, and I can't keep the worry from bubbling up inside me. I should be able to remember something as simple as my own name. Closing my eyes, I try to coax the memory to the forefront of my mind. I can feel it lingering on the edge of my thoughts, and I know it's close, hidden behind the mist in my mind. Ooh, ... Nothing. My throat tightens at the realization. Not knowing where I am is one thing, but not knowing my own name. All the names that cross my mind feel foreign, not one of them standing out as mine. Panic begins to crawl into my lungs, contracting my throat, leaving me gasping for breath. Hey, don't panic. Look at me. June pulls his chair closer to the bed, his eyes locked on mine. He takes a deep breath in through his nose, releasing it slowly through his mouth. With a hand, he gestures for me to do the same. After a few breaths in and out, my muscles seem to unknot a little, reason returning to me. Now, close your eyes. Relax. Just keep breathing through it. Okay, we're breathing. Excuse me. I know my name. It's here somewhere. Don't try to force it. Focus on clearing your mind, claiming it. Let it come to you. His voice washes over me like a balm, soothing and healing my fractured nerves. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Ever so slowly, my mind empties, the darkness it leaves behind like an endless abyss, waiting to be filled. Okay, so this guy's pretty friendly. Something clicks, like the download button in my brain has regained power once again. So that's interesting. It's another allusion to like the digital space. I wonder if we are, despite picking a race origin, if we're actually going to end up being some form of synthetic life form. We shall see. Trying to hold all other thoughts at bay, I part my lips and speak the one word that hangs like a neon light in the back of my mind. Broken wizard. Apt, given that we don't remember anything. A breath of fresh air washes through my lungs, my frustration from earlier receding a little. I try to push a little further, a last name or even my home. But the more I try, the more the black hole of my memories sucks me into nothingness. Nothing comes to my mind, not even the slightest inkling. It's quite poetically written, this so far. Maybe slightly heavy-handed, but that's, going to be pretty typical of a game like this. I decide not to push it anymore. For now, my first name will have to do. Slowly, I open my eyes again, a smile tugging at my lips as my eyes fall upon June and that contagious lopsided grin of his. Ooh, maybe this will be quite a horny game. We shall see. June grins wider, and it's one of those smiles that reaches his eyes, wrinkles the skin beside them. It's a pleasure to meet you, Broken Wizard. Do you remember anything else? I search my mind, ever darkened crevice and corner, but come up short. No. June lets out a sigh, as if it burdens him to be the one to tell me whatever comes next. There was an attack on the palace in Siltavay. We found you unconscious nearby. A bridge had collapsed. Well, it had been destroyed, actually. Our medic healed what she could, but we never expected memory loss to be a factor. Perhaps you lived around the area. Does any of this sound familiar to you? I shake my head. I recall the city of Siltavay, capital of the planet Golis. But did I live there? Do I have a life there or a family waiting for me? My mind seemed bathed in darkness, coming up blank with each attempt to remember my past. I'm sorry, I remember the city, but nothing past that. June ducks his head, thinking for a moment. It could be some type of short-term memory loss. We'll have our medic look you over again. If you remember where you're from, we can help get you back there. There must be someone waiting for you. There isn't. Well, we don't know that. Maybe there is. The words leave my mouth. Okay, before I can stop them, but somehow I know it's true. So maybe we are a bit of a lone wolf then. Interesting. And even if it isn't, what good would it be if I can't even remember them? June shifts in his chair, but I cut in before he has the chance to say more. All I know right now is my name. I have you to thank for that. I think we would have probably remembered that by ourselves, but I guess we'll give this one to June in this case. It's a start, right? I chew on my bottom lip, anxiously feeling his eyes flicker over me. I know the thought of forgetting everything should be terrifying, but for some reason, I feel... Do we like June? I feel like we're throwing in our lot somewhat early here, but he does seem pretty calming. Calm, at peace with whatever has happened to me. I don't know, maybe it's a sign, an opportunity for me to make a fresh start. still want to remember something, anything. But I could be on the run for all I know, exiled even. Better to avoid that kind of trouble, don't you think? An uneasiness settles in my stomach, and I think that perhaps I'm more shaken up than I've let on. Yeah, I think so. The only consolation is that June seems worried enough for the both of us. His eyes go wide at my words, and I can practically feel the concern dripping from him. I'm sorry, we should get you to the medic. She'll be able to help you far better than I can. She's Tilari. Perhaps you remember their reputation. Well, I think we chose Tilari, so I would hope so. We are of those people. I do. I mean, I am one after all. Just not a healer like most. At least I don't think so. June offers his hand to help me stand, and when I take it, his skin is surprisingly warm, a stark contrast to the cold metal walls of the room around us. Despite the roughness of his skin, the callousness on his fingers, his touch is gentle. For a moment, I think I'm okay to stand on my own, but when I let go of his hand, my legs buckle beneath me. Letting out a yelp, I'm hit with the sense of falling for only a split second before a strong arm wraps around my waist, holding me up. All right. Are we okay? Oh, I think so. Ooh, I think it's too early. I think we need to meet some other people before we, I think, let's see who else is around. That was a close one. Thanks. Oh, we are so smooth. At least I hope it was temporary. Yeah. Oh no. I'm cut short when the lights above us blink on and off, and the ship lurches, prompting June to steady me with a hand on my arm once again. What was that? Just technical issues. What kind of technical issues? Last thing I need is to be stranded on a broken starship with no memory. One crisis at a time, thank you very much. June smiles at me reassuringly. Nothing to worry about. Come on, I'll show you the infirmary on my way out. I follow behind June down a couple of corridors. The ship isn't massive by any means, but it certainly seems bigger than I expected. When he stops in front of a set of blue, transparent double doors, he turns to me. This is where I leave you. I should probably get to the bridge before all hell breaks loose. You see the captain then? First mate, maybe? The alarm was on my face because he shakes his head and chuckles softly. Nothing to worry about. Now head on in. Ryona will take care of you. Thank you, June. He stops and gives me a strange look, his eyes wide. But just as quickly, he smiles gently and nods before disappearing down the corridor. Boom. All right. When I enter the infirmary, as cautious and quiet as a rabbit avoiding a trap, the first thing that hits me is the smell. Yeah, hospitals, not the most, not the loveliest of places, typically. It smells clean, but not in that sterile medical way. More like dewy grass and fresh rain, like the open air and sky. Maybe there's kind of like a more druidic thing going on. It reminds me of a cool spring morning, though I can't recall having ever experienced one. It's almost homey. Oh, you're awake. The voice that startles me is surprisingly soft, and my head tilts to follow the sound. She's Tilari by the looks of her luminescent skin, her primal yellow eyes. My chest warms with a feeling of familiarity. I'm not the only one. I'm Ryona. It's good to finally see you up and about. You've been looking after me? She smiles, and there's something so soft, so calming about it, that it soothes right down to my bones. I'm reluctant to let my guard down so easily, but her soothing presence hardly inspires fear. Yes, I'm the medic here. And your name is... Oh, sorry to people of Scotland, by the way. My name is Broken Wizard because that's it. Pleasure to meet you. Please take a seat. Let's have a look at you. She gestures with long, thin fingers towards the medical chair that's positioned in the center of the room, and I follow her instruction, noting the plastic that crinkles beneath me as I sit, noting. Yeah, I hate that. I hate that crinkly plastic on medical stuff. It's obviously a lot more sanitary and easy to clean, but it's not very comfortable. So how are you feeling? Physically, I think I'm okay, but I hesitate and she cocks her head to the side, watching me curiously and giving me time to get my thoughts in order. I haven't been able to remember much besides my name. I see. Riona grabs a long silver wand from a metal table and holds it in front of me. May I? I nod, and she lights the tip with a swish, shining the blue lights on the end into my eyes, one after the other. Ah, okay. Pretty classic medical stuff. I suspected you had a concussion when they brought you in here. You had hit your head rather hard. Oof. I'll have to work on that. Cleaned it up and lasered the wound back together, but I'm afraid there's not a lot I can do for memory loss. Her fingers are cool against my scalp when she inspects the old wound next. Old wound, interesting. Giving an approving hum at whatever she finds there. Oh, yeah. Have you noticed any issues with your vision or coordination? I don't know why I keep rising at the end of those sentences. That is not how Scottish people talk. The silver wand is pressed gently inside my ear before Riona pulls it back out and inspects the strange illuminated symbols on the side. Digital. Interesting. When I first got out of bed, I lost my balance. Since then, apart from the memory thing, I've been feeling fine. Riona holds the wand in front of my face vertically, and a blue light washes over me, blinking for a few seconds before it dissipates entirely. When I follow her gaze to the screen behind me, the images have changed, depicting a series of numbers and icons I can't understand. Your scans are almost back to normal, aside from bruising here or there, though. That's to be expected. She stands back and inspects me, her nose clinked slightly in thought. Physically, you're healing well. If you already remembered your name, my guess would be a mild case of retrograde amnesia. Yes, okay. So we knew about amnesia. It's more common than you may think following a head injury, though I can't say that every patient heals in the same way. But it will heal. I will remember, won't I? Riona gives a sad smile, and in that moment, I know she's just as unsure as I am. Only time will tell. Perhaps if I ask you some questions, they might trigger a memory. It's worth a shot. It certainly is. Okay, where did we live? Do we want to not know? I'm a city person. I think I'm going to say a big city. At least I think so. The images are hazy, but when I really think about it, I get flashes of golden sky, clouds stretching as far as I can see. Well, that's a good start. Do you see anything else? I close my eyes, like I did earlier with June, and try to remember more. All right. White, gold, and water. No, fountains. There were fountains everywhere. That sounds like gold is all right. The planet gets its water source from tunnels deep below the Earth. The fountains make it accessible to everyone. Let's see if you remember anything else. Do you have any siblings? Now, I do in real life, but I'm going to say I don't know. Because I feel like we're going with this, like, not necessarily orphaned, but like, you know, this idea of being like a loner or like, you know, kind of an outsider. So I shake my head slowly. Still, nothing comes to mind. Riona frowns, and it's not the most encouraging sight. I see. Don't push yourself too hard. We can try it again later. All right, I nod and glance around the room. And once again, I'm hit by that smell. I notice now that there's something else mixed into it. Something sweet, almost fruity. Can I ask what the smell is? Oh, it's my mister. What's that? A small cylinder-shaped object in the corner of the room. I can program it to replicate scents. This one is of my home planet, Talarin. Great. She giggles unexpectedly as if she didn't mean to say that. Okay. Well, that is interesting. Oh yeah, a little homesick. Absolutely. absolutely makes sense. We're from there, so, you know, that makes sense. She's envisioning her home in her mind. You're right, it is. Crystal water, clear skies, green stretching as far as you can see. And dotted all over the planet are enormous spires, towers that disappear into the clouds. Each spire can hold an entire city. Hospitals, schools, homes. People think Goldis is the shining star of the system, but Talaran is the real jewel. It's more beautiful than this hunk of junk anyway. But don't let the captain know I said that. I smile at her words, but the picture she paints of Talaran is as unfamiliar to me as the rest of my past. Oh no. Why did you leave? She smiles sadly, and I can't help but to feel a little of the emotion myself, sinking into my own skin like dew. I wanted to help the people that no one else would. Oh, let's like hold off on the flirting for now until we've met everybody. Although that doesn't mean we can't play the field a little, you know, but I think we need to play it cool for now. For a time, yes. But even the best intentions aren't always welcomed. Oh, interesting. Okay. And some things don't go as planned. Okay, so something happened. Something happened. Interesting. She smiles at me gratefully, and there's something beautiful about it. Something pure and utterly selfless. It strikes me that someone with this much kindness and devotion towards the world should never have to go through such hardship, and I can only hope that whatever she's had to endure has only made her stronger. Oh, there goes the ship lurching again. And Rhea and I grab hold of the chair, fixed clearly to the floor to keep ourselves from flying across the room. See, I reckon if we'd flirted, we could have had a moment there. But we are playing it cool. We have only met 2 people so far. What was that? Probably just a gas cloud. Our pilot is usually good at avoiding them, but sometimes the autopilot veers us too close. Well, we're done here. Best if you go back to your room and get some rest. Your body hasn't fully recovered. Do you think you can find your way back on your own? I think you've missed some opportunities here, but that's okay. I'll bring you some food and fresh clothes in a little while and check in on how you're doing. Oof. I apologise for the accents, by the way. It just makes it a little easier, I think, to differentiate the characters. I mean, let's be fair. This person is from some random planet. Who's to say that's just not how they sound, right? So we are exiting the infirmary. Okay, so we're not quite sure where we're going. All the doors look the same. Oh, Maybe I should have asked Rihanna to show me after all. Yeah, maybe you should. The corridors are all metal walls and elaborate circuitry. Fluorescent lights evenly spaced hanging from the ceiling. The occasional patch holding metal sheets together. I look around for some kind of sign, but find nothing, stopping only when I come to the next door. It's larger than the rest of them. It must lead somewhere important. After debating my choices for about a minute too long, I suddenly realize there's nothing to lose if I end up walking into the wrong room anyway. Okay, we're in some kind of cargo hold. I should probably leave, though I can see the edges of a window behind a stack of crates against the wall, and it draws my curiosity. A bit weird to stack crates in front of a window. This must be the docks. The boarding area should be around here somewhere, which means the view from here must be breathtaking. Okay. Making my way past the crates, I'm now facing a large window, the vast dark abyss of the universe laid bare in front of me. I count the stars as we pass, and I wonder if I'm truly from Goldis. Well, I mean, Goldis is not our, like race or species home planet, is it? So it is quite possible that we are not. Somewhere out there, the answers wait for me, I'm sure of it. Somewhere in the system lays the key to my true self. My only fear is whether it's a good idea to chase the ghosts of my past or leave them buried somewhere where they are and start anew. Well, well, look who's up and running. I clutch at my chest as I jump at the voice, turning to find the source. Relax, kid, I'm not gonna... Holy shit! Is that what all the racket is down here? He steps up to the door, peering through the small window with a look of mild irritation. When he steps back again, he swears under his breath. I mean, he swore above his breath just a second ago, just saying. This is not good. The captain's gonna flip his lid when he hears there's a hole in the cargo hold. Oh, right. I'm guessing we make our money from cargo, because losing cargo... probably not the best for our financial well-being, I would say. Is it safe for us to be here? He paces a few steps, looking at the door nervously before turning to me. That door is airtight. I'm more worried about the Latalis supply. Latalis. What is that? What was that? That wasn't a species, was it? That must be a thing, an object. Small fruit, only grows on Talaran. You're Talari, aren't you? Surely you know what I'm talking about. I shrug my shoulders and he lets out a defeated sigh. Doc gets cranky without a special fruit, and you do not want to see her when she's cranky. Well, come on, let's head to the bridge. We can chat on the way. Great, we're going to the bridge. So far, this is the third person we have met, and... yeah, cool cast of characters so far. And I really enjoy the art style of this as well. It has that, like concept art look to it. I mean, obviously we're following him. Even though his posture seems tense, the curve of his lips suggests otherwise. I'm Bash, by the way. You got a name? Kind of regretting my name choice now. Kind of using a gamer handle instead of a real name. It's a little bit awkward to say. So how the hell did you end up on the middle of a coup in Goldis? So obviously earlier we learned that the bridge was destroyed, and we're in the middle of some kind of military action. So I guess we don't know whether we were part of some kind of revolutionary. I'm guessing Goldis is the planet of the humans, given that we've learnt the home planet of the Talari. So we are from there, of course. I don't remember. Yeah, you don't remember how you got there? I don't remember anything. Well, except my name. June helped me with that. Oh, we're name dropping June. I hope that doesn't hurt our chances with him later. He thinks for a moment before speaking again. Well, that's brilliant. Think about it. It's not every day you get to make up a brand new identity. You want to pick up a new name? If you do it quick, I won't tell anyone you swapped it. Not that there's anything wrong with the one you've got. But think of all the choices. I stare at him, a little stunned, and after a moment or two, his face drops in realization. Unless you're not happy about all this. Shit, I'm sorry. Sometimes it takes my head a few seconds to catch up with my mouth, you know? It's a bit of a stereotype, isn't it? He's like the good with his hands mechanic type, and he's, you know, they're not giving him like the most sort of super intelligent persona so far, but maybe he'll redeem himself later. I do like him so far. I love the upfront character. I think in narratives, one of the interesting things with those types of characters is that they tend to be the people who can like lore dump you and kind of explain what's going on, but in a way that's natural because that's just their personality. Okay, so we're crushing on everyone so far, so that's cool. Obviously, this is definitely a horny game for sure. So more amnesia talk. So we're not feeling much. So I get it. There's nothing like falling on your ass to make you feel like nothing in this damn world makes sense anymore. If it's any consolation, I've been there once or twice myself. He smiles sadly, and I have a hard time imagining anything in the world bringing down the bundle of energy in front of me. My eyes drift to the way his tattoos flicker, growing luminescent under the spaceship's lights, and then to the bionic arm at his side. A network of metal plates connectors intrinsically woven together. Hey Ham, nice to see you on the stream. Yes, happy Friday indeed. I picked up this game and I've never played a narrative game before, like a visual novel. I wasn't sure if this would be like a more like serious sci-fi endeavor, but there's definitely a lot of horny stuff going on so far, and this is the third person we've met. So yeah, we're seeing from this guy's appearance that he's a bit of a clearly the mechanic of the ship. There's something about Bash that fascinates me, something rough and unruly, and I find myself wishing I could learn more about him. Do the bionics make you nervous? I snap my gaze to his face, embarrassed at being caught staring. He laughs, and I can't help but feel like he's laughing at me. You never seen bionics before? Your mouth is practically dragging on the floor. No, I've seen them before. I don't know. I'm really appreciating my choice at the start of this game to make myself a they them. I feel like, just leaving our horizons pretty broad. So I think, well, the spaceship is called Andromeda 6, so I'm assuming that means there are going to be sort of 6 characters. I'm going to stick with my policy of flirting with no one until we've met everyone, and then we shall see. He's very upfront, though, I've got to say, which is good. You wound me, so it's an interesting way of talking. Here I was starting to think we were starting to become friends. Well, give it time. I give him a dry look, and he grins that cocked grin of his, which only makes me break my face and laugh with him. Okay. I can certainly think of worse friends I could have. I'm curious, do they give you any special abilities? Bash flexes his bionic arm in front of him, making a fist and relaxing it again. His face is strange all of a sudden, haunted by the ghost of memories past. This is stronger than any human arm, faster too. Crushes steel as easy as a tin can. But the real moneymaker is this. He gestures to his... his left eye. Giving me the opportunity to study it close. It's obvious on first glance that there's something different about the way it pulses. A bright electric yellow makes his right eye a dark forest green, seen almost dull in comparison. Infrared sight, X-ray vision, advanced targeting. I instinctively move to cover myself before he laughs heartily, and I stop, dropping my arms to my side and feeling a little foolish. Relax, kid. You'll know when it's activated. It glows red. I laugh at myself, trying to recover from my awkward reaction. And the tattoos? Purely ornamental. Though I like to think they add to my overall formidable appearance. An ungraceful snort escapes me before I can stop it. I hesitate, deciding how to word the question that's poised on my lips without sounding like I'm digging for gory details. How did you end up with them? I mean, if you don't mind me asking. Bash grimaces, and I'm immediately aware of how intrusive I'm being. I'll make you a deal. When something worth sharing pops into that head of yours, I'll tell you. Okay. So what do you think about humble abode? So there's a hole in the cargo hold. We have established that. Bash seems to flip something as serious as a hole in the spaceship to something of mere inconvenience. That's kind of like my character on Dungeons and Doctrines, right? Harold is always doing that, which is kind of like an interesting character trait, which I didn't build into him. He sort of just, that's kind of how he became. A sort of ironic optimist, I guess. So we still haven't seen much of the ship. We haven't met the captain. I'm hoping we will meet the captain now. Ooh, Bash does not like the captain. I can't say you're missing out. That man's got a vendetta on a scale I've never seen before. Just stay clear of his warpath and you'll be okay, kid. But let's see. Anyone else you'd like to know before more about? Well, we've met Riona in June in person, so let's see more about the pilot. There was mention of a pilot? Ah, yes. Now there's a pocket rocket if I ever did see one. Too bad she wasn't a fan of the water tanks plans I drew up. Okay, interesting. Oh man, this is going to be hard to say. One of them catalphons, you know? What I wouldn't give to see a full-blown space mermaid in all their water glory. His mind drifts elsewhere for a moment, and when I clear my throat, he shrugs his shoulders and shakes his head. I should rather live like a lowly old human. Can't see the sense in that personally. Interesting. All right. I don't think we need to get a bunch of exposition about characters. I think we'll learn plenty about them just by talking to them. I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all the information. Maybe you can tell me more later. It'll be my pleasure. Though you'll meet them sooner or later anyway. You obviously met me, the most handsome and talented engineer this side of Callius X. Okay, another planet. Cool. I wouldn't say that's all you need to know, but I'm sure there was someone else. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting someone? He holds a finger against his lips, and I can't tell if he's serious or this is all just for dramatic effect. He's quite dramatic. He snaps in front of his fingers in front of him, grinning at me as we walk through a set of double doors. Yes, the assassin. Okay. Between you and me, I can see him sneaking up on me from a mile away. Interesting. Always lurking in the shadows. Playing with knives. Okay, here we go. Ooh, okay. So this is a roguish type for the game. Bit of emo energy going on. I like it. Hey, Damon. All right, that's, yeah. Actually, you know, having just watched the Sandman, definite, Sandman vibes. I was just telling the newbie here all about our happy little crew. Delightful. Please, don't let me stop you. You know what? I think I hear the captain calling my name. What's that, Cap? And off he goes. Bash is already halfway across the bridge. I mean, it's quite a small bridge, to be fair. My own at the entrance. Well, not quite on my own, as Damon is still leaning nonchalantly against the wall next to me. I spare him a nervous glance, my skin prickling under his cold stare. The way he's looking me over makes me feel I'm not so much a guest on his ship, but his prey. I wonder, is he really an assassin? Trying to ignore his unnerving presence, I survey the front of the ship. The room is spacious. Control panels spread across the front, 2 seats for the pilot and co-pilot surrounded by a domed window, and a cluster of seats behind them. I duck my head a little to see through the glass up ahead. The view of Saliota, okay, is even more breathtaking from here. I've no idea what the planet we're passing in the distance is, but somehow it makes me feel unnervingly small. A tiny, insignificant speck alone in this vast galaxy. The drifting sound of arguing reaches my ears, and a couple of people I haven't yet met, coupled with June and Bash, pace across the room towards us. One man, his presence ominous, stops them all, his voice booming through the space. Over the grinding of engines and the whir of electronics, I can't quite make out what they're arguing about, and I feel a slinking presence beside me, dark and ominous and entirely dangerous. Everyone I've met so far has been welcoming in their own way, but this man, Damon, Bash calls him, feels anything but. My eyes flick to the side, and I know even before I see that he's watching me. Let's introduce ourselves. Hesitant to be caught in the web of whatever Damon is, I decide to introduce myself to the others and find out exactly what all the commotion is about. Could it have something to do with the hole in the cargo hold Bash and I saw earlier? I mean, I would assume maybe. Whatever it is, I'm determined to find answers on what the hell is going on around here and where I fit into it. I take a deep breath, followed by a step, only to falter at the sound of a raspy voice beside me. Looks like our little stowaway has lost more than just their memory. You'd be pretty stupid to interrupt that conversation. After almost tripping on my own feet and righting myself at the last moment, I turn to stare at Damon wide-eyed. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? He grins at me, wide and wolfish, before flicking heavy-lidded eyes towards something over my shoulder. Or maybe that goddamn lizard did. Can't believe they let the cowboy keep that disgusting thing. But when I try to bring a cat aboard, they act like I've committed treason. Damon pauses for a moment, and I find him having a hard time deciphering exactly who he's speaking to. I think mostly himself. Granted, it was a Nalaxian snow tiger, but I failed to see the difference. Still, a fuzzy little thing, even the big doe eyes. Kind of like you. My face flushes with heat, and I know he knows he's getting to me by the way his lips curl even higher. His amusement seems short-lived, however, as he clicks his tongue, eyes going dark, pupils blown wide. Preposterous. I blink at him, dumbfounded, and he grins, revealing straight white teeth that glint through the dimness surrounding us. I'm beginning to have serious doubts about the whole assassin thing, until the glint of tarnished metal catches my eye, and I glance warily at the blade, balancing idly between his deft fingers. I'm sure you like what you see, but it's rude to stare. Okay. I'm trying to decipher why exactly you think you can try to intimidate me. Try, huh? Keep telling yourself that, sweetheart. I could see your knees knocking from a mile away. He takes a step towards me, staring me down through cerulean eyes, chin tilted high. Besides, I think intimidated isn't the only thing I'm making you feel. He's very confident, which... I mean, fair enough. My jaw clenches tight, eyes narrowing into utterly unimpressed slits as they drag over him. Who does this guy think he is? Are you always such a dick? Always. A bit snapish there. But for what it's worth, I was only trying to help. Didn't think you'd want to face the wrath of our dear captain on your first day aboard. Not if you want to keep that pretty head attached to that pretty neck. The scoff that escapes me is dark, deliberate. You call that being helpful? Shrugging, his eyes glaze over with a certain disdain as he watches the group arguing nearby, as if they were nothing more than a mere speck on his radar. Whatever works. All right, I start to roll my eyes before thinking better of it. Whatever Damon is, assassin or not, I'm not sure I want to end up on the wrong side of him. Regardless of how I feel about his help, when the argument between the crew seems to come to a boiling point, I'm almost glad he stopped me. It was most likely a bad idea after all. You're welcome. I wasn't thanking you. All right. Damon laughs, a low, dangerous sound that seems made of shadows all of itself. When he cocks an eyebrow at me, I almost consider running headfirst into the commotion after all. I can tell when people are lying, you know. Some would call it a talent. Some would not. My eyes go wide at his admission, nostrils flaring with unease. It's a gift, being able to read people, what they're thinking, what they desire. Ooh, telepathy. His smug expression falters, and I would have felt triumphant had I not been busy internally debating if he was actually capable of such a thing. Not that there's anything in my mind to worry about him finding, it's just privacy, you know. That is true, our mind is a blank slate, thanks to the amnesia, so I suppose we're good. Don't be ridiculous, there's no such thing. It's just something I'm good at, reading people, figuring out what makes them tick. Telepathy? Bullshit. I call it a life skill, an invaluable one at that. Damon folds his arm over his chest, that infuriating half-cocked grin sliding into his lips once again. And how is it that life gives someone that skill? Now, that's none of your business, is it? I realise quickly that despite the tilt of his lips, there's something strange about his eyes. Something cold, calculated. My mouth goes dry, stomach churning with unease, and as much as I try, I can't look away. Hard sapphire eyes pin me down as sharply honed as the blades I'd seen him balance on deft fingers, now sheathed conveniently close at hand. I feel exposed beneath his gaze, as predictable as an open book, and so vulnerable that I can't even read what's written on my own pages. I tear my eyes away only when he cocks his head towards the group in the middle of the room, his ears perked and trained on their whispered words. I felt a weakness in myself earlier with June, a weakness in limbs that had been unused for far too long. But now they tremble in relief as the weight of Damon's stare leaves me. Oh my. When my eyes drift over to him again, his mind seems far away. I find myself wondering what kind of thoughts plague his mind, what memories are racing through it to make him seem so guarded. Shaking my head to clear it, I decide it's best to quit asking questions I'm sure he has no intention of answering. I turn to leave, thoroughly done with this conversation and the way Damon's mood chops and changes as quickly as the view from the cockpit. Where are you going? A silky voice stops me in my tracks, and when I look at Damon, it's to find him studying me curiously, as if we were some specimen in a laboratory. Back to my room? But we've only just started having fun. You know what else I'm good at? Finding out what people want. What they really want. He pushes himself away from the wall, stepping towards me with an unnatural feline grace. So tell me, what is it that you truly desire? His voice still holds what seems to be a perpetually snarky undertone, but when he asks me that, I don't know. Damon narrows his cold blue eyes that look in them clearly unsatisfied with my answer. Everyone wants something. It's usually dark, twisted, and secretive. But it's what makes us who we are. I have no idea what I want. Oh, he does not believe us. Okay. I'll find out what it is sooner or later. His hooded eyes slide up and down my body, leaving a burning trail in their wake. Is he really hitting on me? Okay, we are going to, for now at least, maintain our policy of giving nobody anything until we've met all of the crew. Plus, it's kind of fun to play hard to get, especially with someone like Damon, right? Through my failed attempt to make my voice sound light, I know he can hear the tremble in my words, and he grins in that wolfish way that makes my head spin and my mouth go dry. I don't need luck, newbie. I blink dumbly at his unfaltering confidence, at how it dips from him like smoke coiling translucently around his limbs. Do you do that on purpose? Make it feel as though as you're trying to lure every poor soul into your bed? He does have a kind of negging energy, which I don't appreciate, actually. Yeah, Damon laughs, and for a moment I think I've caught him off guard with my boldness. He seems younger when he laughs. A glow flushes his face. And as short as the moment is, I'm glad to have caught a glimpse at what's under that icy exterior. Maybe. Do you want to be lured into my bed? Not particularly. He laughs again, and I sense a shift in him, something that relaxes his shoulders and chases the shadows from his face. You know, you're not so bad. We might just get along if you stick around, of course. He winks at me in a way that feels oddly conspiratorial. Just don't expect any special treatment. I'm still lost in the moment when footsteps approach, heavy set and clipped, and a gruff voice calls towards us. Red snore, okay. Damon rolls his eyes, his clips curling into a smirk as he winks at me, blue eyes glinting with amusement. He steps back slowly, one foot behind the other, and sliding his hands into his pockets, he turns, a shit-eating grin spread across his handsome face. Yes, dear? I have to decide what voice I'm doing for what I assume is the captain. Is this really the time to be messing around? Damon gasps, holding a hand to his chest in mock offense. Messing around? Me? Why, Commander, I would never. You guys look so cozy over there. You know, I would never want to intrude. The commander inhales sharply, shutting his eyes and pinching the bridge of his nose in clear annoyance. Why? He stops, fixing Damon with a dark stare, one that says, "Don't fuck with me," among other things. You know what? This isn't the time for your bullshit, Damon. I need to go and do your thing, and tell Bash to get Oppo on the line. We'll be paying a visit. Yes, sir. Damon gives a mock salute. Okay, I do like that. I'm also one of the people who kind of hate authority. Pulling on a pair of black leather gloves and looking thoroughly unimpressed at being interrupted. He turns back before he leaves the bridge, sparing a single glance over his shoulder. Don't wait up for me. Okay. I'm not sure which one of us he's speaking to, and in the end, I decide I'd rather not know. With a thick swallow, I turn back to the other man, steeling myself against the wrath Damon so generously invoked in him. Damon was unnerving in his own kind of way, but this man is downright terrifying. Tall, rigid, with a scowl so intimidating it makes my blood run cold. Looks like the warm welcome ended with Bash. What are you doing here? Folding his arms over his broad chest, he stares me down, and I try my hardest not to shrink under his glacial glare. Excuse me? He lets out an exasperated huff of air, his sharp jaw tensing with his frustration. Look, I don't have time to babysit a stowaway. Do us all a favour and keep off the bridge, will you? Yeah, what else are we supposed to do? And what else am I supposed to do? That's not my problem. June was the one who brought you aboard. Why don't you go and bother him? What? I'm sorry, did I make myself clear? Stay out of my way. Wow, he's very abrasive. I blink at him stupidly, attempting to contemplate how exactly one man can be so obnoxious. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Play nice now, Calderon. My eyes flick up over him involuntarily. He has the look of a soldier. Stronger jaw, stiff back, stick up his ass about a mile long. Look, I really don't have time for... Amy, get the goddamn ship on course. We're not stopping by the Catalfan ruins. I don't give a shit what time of year it is. The woman barks something at him, and I bark away slowly, thinking it's probably best to keep out of his way after all. I've barely made it 3 steps before he turns, sapphire eyes landing on me in a cold stare, freezing me in place. You're from Goldis. The way he says it isn't a question, but it catches me off guard nonetheless. What? That's where we picked you up, right? Right. So, tell me, do you really think this new guy in power, Zovak, is going to be any better than the greedy son of a bitch before him? A flash of anger passes over his features so quickly I would have missed it if I wasn't looking closely. My eyebrows knit together confused. Maybe Riona was mistaken about my accident. I feel less like I've taken a blow to the head, and more like I've been dropped into another galaxy entirely. He sneers at me, his lips curled cruelly, and immediately I know I've struck a nerve. You don't know? Isn't that what all you Goldians wanted, a fucking liberator? Back off, Captain. The woman, Ayami, warns me. Her voice low, but with enough venom, calling it to be threatening. Calderon snorts, ignoring her. How do I know you're not one of his lackeys? Maybe his whole memory loss play was a way to get on the ship. You think I want this, to not know who I am? Who knows what you'll say to worm your way onto my crew? He takes a step toward me, and it's so intimidating that it takes everything I have not to move a muscle. You're unbelievable, and you're becoming a pain in my ass, so I'm going to ask you one last time. He points a finger at me, and I resist the urge to shove it away. Are you working for Jess Sovak? Yeah, he's rubbing me the wrong way. I think we can do a bit of sass. Are you always such a dick? His jaw tenses, teeth grounding tight. Watch who you're speaking to like that unless you want to join the goddamn supplies on the wrong side of this cruiser. My chest heaves with my anger, but I hold my tongue. He's the captain after all, even if his manners leave much to be desired. Know this, until we reach our destination, all eyes will be on you. I'm not your enemy. You don't need to be so paranoid. Paranoia is the least of my worries. Zovak is not a man to be trifled with. If you don't like him, then maybe he's not so bad. Oof, I don't know if that was a wise thing to say. It takes only a second to... Yeah, this was the wrong thing to say. His lips curl back from his teeth, revealing a scowl so venomous. My eyes widen. Not so bad. You think murder and deceit and radicalism is not so bad? His growl echoes straight through me, and I inhale sharply, meeting him head on. Zovak, the bastard who forced the Crown Council to name him king, but not before killing the entire royal family. Think about that, will you? King Fenris, the 3 queens and their elven children, murdered. His eyes are blazing, the fury made obvious by the growl in his voice and the flush of his skin. Now how about you tell me again how he's not so bad? Yeah, we misspoke. Ooh, okay. Voice number 6, I think. For fuck's sake, Calderon, have you really got to be raging arsehole 98% of the time? She grabs Calderon by the arm, hoisting him back a step while she glares up at him. They're not responsible for the mess we're in. He fixes her with an equally hard stare, the tension between them palpable as he grits out from between clenched teeth. Set the course, now! She merely rolls her eyes at him, storming back to the cockpit controls. The confusion must show on my face, because when he turns to me again, he lets out a defeated sigh, rubbing a hand over his face tidily. You really don't remember anything? His voice is surprisingly gentle now. Well, thanks for telling me that after I said it. And I shake my head, unable to tear my gaze away from his. There's something about those eyes. Calderon's got a wall about him a mile high, that much is obvious, but every now and then there's a flicker of something. If I didn't know better, I'd say it was sadness. He inhales sharply, the red flush of anger melting away as he weaves a dismissive hand at me. Whatever, I've got shit to do. Head back to your room. I'll have someone check on you later. I let out an impatient sigh. Yep, we're gonna just keep off the flirting until we've properly met everyone. I'm beginning to tire, and there isn't any point in prolonging the argument. It's clear this man is as stubborn as a mule, that they apparently still have in space-times. Besides, it's probably not the best idea to antagonize the man who commands this ship. Before I turn to leave, the corner of his lips twitch in poorly concealed amusement. Wait. What did you say your name was? I didn't, but it's Broken Wizard. He gives me a strange look, eyebrow quirked, and then he shakes his head as if deciding he doesn't care after all. Well, whoever you are, we'll be dropping you off in Terranium once we get there. I suggest you come up with a plan before then. The streets of Nos Vega are not kind to the unprepared. Until then, unless you can do something useful, which I highly doubt, stay out of the way. He turns to leave the room, but not before giving me another once-over, sizing me up. I stand there dumbly watching the captain leave the bridge, his heavy-set footsteps disappearing underneath the hiss of the closing door. Sorry about him. It isn't personal if it helps. Yeah, would be nice. I glare towards the door, his words still rowing me in all the wrong places. You're not the one who should be sorry. Amy laughs, her tone low and disbelieving. You sound just like him. My glare shifts from the door to her, thoroughly unimpressed. Being compared to him is certainly not something I appreciate. I'm sorry, but trust me, I know. Calderon is complicated, among other things. My eyebrows crinkle in confusion, betraying my calm exterior. There's nothing complicated about being civil, or learning some manners in that case. Come on, I saw you talking to Damon before Calderon came around. He's not exactly Lord of Niceville either. Yeah, but at least he was honest. My eyes fixed on her, the truth behind them blunt and unbroken. And he didn't call me useless. She sighs, tugging on a thin braid hanging by her shoulder out of habit. Well, we're all a little cuckoo around here. Try not to let it get to you. Like I said, it's nothing personal. Besides, I can teach you a thing or two. Like how to tell them both to take a hike. In a more colourful language, of course. She laughs and my lips curve at the sound. There's something calming about her. Something that puts me at ease, and it's a relief to know this ship is not entirely filled with douchebags. I mean, to be fair, we have met at least like 2/3 of the crew are pretty charming, so I think we're doing all right. I can't help but wonder exactly at the nature of her relationship with the captain. They seem pretty close after all. The last thing I want is to pry, so perhaps an indirect approach would be best, or maybe I shouldn't ask her at all. Why would she disclose her personal life to a stranger? I can hear the links in that brain of yours struggling from here. If you want to ask me something, go ahead. I won't bite. Unless you want me to. She adds the last part with a wink, catching me off guard with her boldness. Okay. It's not a big deal, really. I was just wondering if... I mean, you and the captain look close. Are you two... ... Allowing my voice to draw out. It's almost funny to watch how her expression shifts from that careless confidence into one of utter disbelief. Wow, you want to know if we're a thing? With a laugh bordering hysterical, she runs a hand through her hair, drawing my attention to her face. I glance over the gear attached to the side of her head. It looks advanced, amazingly so, but what really catches my eye are the thin gills on the sides of her neck, moving ever so slightly with each breath she takes. A catalphan. All right. We're definitely not a couple, never. Ew, gross. She makes a gagging sound before she turns back on me with a crooked grin, completely unfazed. He's more like a tame older brother. We've looked out for each other for as long as I can remember. That makes more sense, actually, and I feel a little foolish at having thought otherwise at all. Hang on. You asked me if I'm single before getting my name. And they say I'm the bold one. That's fair, that's fair. The grin on her face is so wide it makes her eyes almost as thin as her gills. I open my mouth to protest, only to realise there's no argument. I did ask her relationship status before her name. This is awkward. I'm Ayami, and the one who keeps the steel tub on course is yours truly. But please, call me Aya. Ayami just sounds so Calderon, don't you think? I guess. She talks so fast there's barely enough time for me to process the information, but I find I like it that way. All right, we are... How rude it was. Yes. Okay, so we are definitely, I think we've met everyone. I think we're going to be in like flirting territory now we've met everyone and we can start deciding, what it is we want. I was just kidding. Chillax. She winks at me again, the huge grin still spread over her face. It was my turn to choke on a laugh. Chillax? Really? Hey, that's a mighty fine word. Obviously. The way her face so quickly distorts into shock makes it impossible to keep a straight face. We stare at each other for a few moments, and my lips twitch at the corners, mimicking her own, until we can't hold on any longer and break out into combined laughter. Aya is nice. There's just something about her, something fun, and I can't help but play into her particular brand of mischief. Here, between us, you really need to chill and relax. See? Chillax is a mighty word. I can't even imagine what it's like to wake up with no memories, but it'll come back. You just gotta be yourself. I'm not sure what I can trust right now, but I know that when she says that, I almost believe it'll truly be all right. If she believes it, then I think I can afford to have a little faith too. Until then, I can be your bodyguard, if you like. Calderon ever gives you shit, let me know and I'll show you how to knock him on his ass. She wiggles her eyebrows and gives me a knowing look, one that has me rolling my eyes in amusement. Thinking about that, however, brings me back the memory of the captain and his ultimatum. The smile on my face fades as I remember, and I can't quite explain why. I hardly know these people, but somehow the thought of being alone in the state I am is somehow terrifying. Hey, what killed your mood? Do you remember something shitty about your past? I wish. Shaking my head, I raised my eyes to meet hers, taking in her subsequent turn. No, I'm just not sure how much longer I'll be around. Why's that? You got someplace to go? Well, not particularly, but the captain said you're dropping me off in Terranium when we arrive. Aya's eyebrows almost disappear beneath her hair as she stares at me, a mixture of shock and anger clouding her features. What the... He said he's dropping you off at Terranium? Terranium? Yeah, it is your next stop, isn't it? It's my turn to look confused. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I couldn't have mistaken the name like that. It is, but do you know anyone in Terranium? Got any place to go? Any plans? I keep shaking my head at her questions, one after the other. My past is still a blur. These people are the only ones I remember knowing, and somehow I think I've gotten a little attached. With an exasperated huff, Aya throws her hands in the air and starts pacing in front of me. Is he out of his freaking mind? No, he must have completely lost it now. Biting my lip, I hold her by the arm to stop her from burning a hole in the floor with the intensity of her pacing. I can take care of myself. I'll just ask around, get a job or something to keep me going while I try to get my life in order. It's fine, really. The last thing I want is to cause trouble for one of the few people who've been so kind to me. They already saved my life. It's not right to ask for more from them. Aya stops, pulling her bottom lip between her teeth before she turns to me. It's not fine. A job in Terranium, fending for yourself in that place when you don't even know your last name. Shaking her head, she puts a hand on my shoulder, looking me dead in the eye, and I start to understand a little how she manages to keep a pair like Damon and Cauldron in check. Look, don't worry about that. It's not going to let that dumbass leave you stranded in... The hissing sound of the pressure of the doors interrupts Aya. Oh, it's Fiona again. Didn't I tell you to get some rest? Startled by the stern voice, I turn to find a very annoyed doctor, her hands on her hips and her foot tapping expectantly. What's all this fuss about anyway? Sorry, we were talking and then I found out some dumbass is thinking of doing something even dumber. I lost my cool, Ree. Riona's expression melts when she notices my confusion, her eyes settling on Aya with an almost maternal fondness. Then you can go deal with it, Aya, but please don't drag me, the character, along with you. They need to rest now. A sheepish smile on her face, Aya squeezes my shoulder once more before walking to the door. Aye, on it. And then she adds, quiet enough for only me to hear. You'd better do what the doc says. You don't want to see her when she's mad. I guess I do not. Her footsteps fade as she skips down the hall, and Riona offers me an apologetic smile. Don't worry about her. I'm not even sure what she's talking about. True, I think she was upset about me being in Terranium, but I can't really tell why. I don't think any of us do most of the time. But enough chit-chat. You need to rest. Come on. Her smile is soft, but the firmness of her voice makes it clear that I don't have a choice in the matter. So answering with a smile of my own, I follow her away from the bridge. My body is still sore enough to be a bother. My legs having grown stiff from traipsing around the ship the past few hours. I didn't notice it so much as I was talking with anyone, but resting doesn't sound half bad. Okay, well, we are back in our dorm now, and I think this is as good a time as any to bring this episode to a close. I'm really enjoying my first foray into the visual novel genre. This is definitely going to be, a bit of like a horny game, and I think I'm here for it. There's a lot of different character types for us to sink our teeth into, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to stream some more of this game sometime soon. Of course, I'm Ross Balch Plays on Twitch, and you can find me just at Ross Balch on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter if it still exists, and if not, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, etc. Just search for Ross Balch. I'm like the only one in the world, and you can keep up with my updates. So until next time, thanks for joining me, and soon we will stream this game some more.